Welcome to the virtual 11th Annual Childhood Cancer Summit. Though we were unable to meet in person this year, I'm still thrilled to celebrate the successes of our community. First, our bill, the Race for Children Act, went into effect on August 18th, ensuring that new adult cancer drugs are properly studied in children, getting us closer to finding a safer and more effective drug for kids battling childhood cancer. This will be a game changer because kids with cancer will now have a shot at being treated with the most exciting and promising cancer drugs currently under development. On top of Race for Children, we have the Creating Hope Act, where Race for Children requires studies of drugs in children. This bill incentivizes drug companies to develop pediatric rare disease drugs. This program has helped create life-saving drugs, such as the one that saved my constituent, Rex Ryan, for high-risk neuroblastoma, as well as CAR T therapy that uses your own immune system to attack the cancer cells. We also introduced at last year's summit to permanently reauthorize this program. Of course, we cannot forget about the STAR Act. The STAR stands for Survivorship, Treatment, Access, and Research. Simply put, the bill promotes and prioritizes childhood cancer at the NIH and provides a critical $30 million every year in funding for this important mission. I remember that day 2 years ago at the White House where the president signed that bill into law, standing next to Sadie and so many other survivors and advocates. It was a powerful moment, and I'm proud to say we have fully funded the STAR Act every year. However, funding is far from certain each year, and we need to continue to fund this important program. We need to fund it again this next year. Finally, I want to discuss our exciting international work. Last year, we heard from Dr. David Poplock, who is working at Texas Children's to bring this mission global. I had the honor of joining him earlier this year in Botswana to see their work up close. And while in the United States, through the incredible work of our caucus and all the doctors and advocates watching, the survival rate for childhood cancer is over 80%. In places such as Botswana, the survival rate is as low as 10%. My wife Linda and I were able to join Dr. Poplock, his Global Hope team, and little Sadie Keller to see the incredible work that they conduct in Botswana. As the president of Botswana once told me, the United States, through the PEPFAR program, saved a generation of his people from extinction. It is with that legacy and passion that the Global Hope team approaches its mission. And to that end, I, along with my caucus co-chairs, introduced the Global Hope Act in order to further this mission and authorize the United States government to engage in fighting childhood cancer in areas where the survival rate is far lower than in the United States. I'm also proud to say that we passed this landmark legislation in the House of Representatives earlier this year, and we are working to pass it in the Senate and have it signed into law. So in closing, I want to thank those who have been so instrumental throughout this journey. First, I want to thank my wife, Linda, who has been my indelible partner in life, as well as my partner in this mission to cure childhood cancer. I also want to thank my incredible co-chairs of this caucus, Jackie Speier, G.K. Butterfield, Mike Kelly. This mission has always been about bipartisanship, and I am honored to work with these incredible colleagues. Sadie Keller, my writing partner and an incredible advocate for our cause, who I was blessed to have travel to Africa with me and has become an incredible young woman advocating for pediatric cancer globally. And Nancy Goodman, who's been the brains behind the operation for much of our legislative efforts, including our original Creating Hope Act that now we are going to reauthorize this week in Congress. David Dr. Poplock, for his leadership taking this mission global. Donna and Tim Culliver, my constituents, for bringing this matter to my attention and this cause with their story all those years ago, and has been with us every step of the way in this journey. And Danielle Leach and Kevin Mathis for their continued work and friendship on behalf of the Alliance for Childhood Cancer. I am so thankful for this community and all the work we were able to accomplish here together. Over a decade ago, when we founded the Childhood Cancer Caucus, there were no voices for the children. There were very few advocates. And what a change a decade has brought. We still have a lot of work to do, but we've come so far in the last decade to cure this dreaded disease. May God bless all the children, the families, the survivors. May God bless this great land that we live in, the United States of America.
I'm delighted to join you in today's virtual Childhood Cancer Summit to highlight the critical needs and legislative efforts concerning a cause very dear to all of us, pediatric cancer. Every child, every single child who faces the devastation of a cancer or life-threatening rare pediatric disease diagnosis deserves our best effort to provide support and ultimately hope. For too long, pediatric cancer was neglected by scientists and drug companies. Children with cancer and their families often had to rely on adult cancer drugs, which could have incredibly negative health consequences for a child. Thankfully, we are making progress. Today, researchers in North Carolina and across the country are taking promising steps in diagnosing and treating children with cancer. We've come a long way, but we have so much farther to go. This is why during last year's Childhood Cancer Summit, I, with my fellow Childhood Cancer Caucus co-chairs, introduced H.R. 4439, the Creating Hope Reauthorization Act. This legislation incentivizes the pharmaceutical industry to develop treatments and cures for children with cancer through an extension of the Rare Pediatric Disease Priority Review Voucher Program at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. We know that reauthorization of this critical program will spur innovation and cures for our children. Since the creation of the Rare Pediatric Disease PRV in 2012, some 8 years ago, the FDA has issued 22 vouchers for pediatric rare diseases, including 2 for pediatric cancer. Drug companies are now prioritizing these conditions, and my legislation will ensure that they continue to do so. The health and well-being of our precious children should be our top priority, and I know many of my colleagues agree. The Creating Hope Reauthorization Act recently passed out of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, making it one step closer to becoming law of the land. As the co-chair of the Childhood Cancer Caucus and the co-chair of the Rare Disease Caucus, I am excited. I am encouraged by the passage of a 4-year extension of this critical program out of our committee. And so I look forward to the life-changing and life-saving treatments this legislation will spur for children and their families. And so I say thank you. Thank you to all of you for your work. Thank you for your advocacy on behalf of our children and for future generations. Now we will continue the fight. Let's keep the struggle going. I so thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Jackie Speier, and I'm honored to be one of the co-chairs of the Congressional Childhood Cancer Caucus. I want to take a moment to thank my fellow co-chairs, Congressman McCaul, who has been the best leader ever, along with Congressman Butterfield and Kelly. I also want to thank everyone participating virtually in our 2020 Childhood Cancer Summit. You know, I miss not having you in our midst right now, but obviously things are different this year, to say the least. And this critical issue and righteous cause are more important to highlight than ever. This year marks the 11th anniversary of the Childhood Cancer Caucus Summit. When the Childhood Cancer Caucus was formed just over a decade ago by Congressman McCaul and Sestek, pediatric cancer patients did not have a voice in Washington. Today, not only do pediatric cancer patients and their families have a voice, they are a force to be reckoned with. In the past decade, we've passed 3 critically important pieces of legislation into law: the Creating Hope Act, the Race for Children Act, and the Childhood Cancer STAR Act. Each year, we have made great strides, inspiring us to continue this fight against pediatric cancer and tackle the work that remains ahead of us. 2 of my constituents personally motivated my work on the Childhood Cancer STAR Act. The first is Christy Chandri, who, after surviving childhood cancer, grew up to become a pediatric oncology nurse practitioner. For almost a decade, Christy has helped run the inpatient chemotherapy unit at Lucile Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford, the same hospital where she was treated as a child cancer patient, and where she now works with members of her own care team. Second is Andrea Church from San Carlos, California. Andrea's daughter, Riley, was only 14 years of age when she died as a result of an inoperable brain tumor in 2006. Riley had received the best and only treatment available for her cancer, a painful, outdated chemotherapy approach meant for adults with recurrent brain tumors. While many of us would have been devastated to the point of dysfunction and despair to lose a child, Andrea had dedicated herself to raising awareness about this terrible disease. Stories like Andrea's and Christy's are the reminder that we must never give up hope. Part of my responsibility as co-chair of the Childhood Cancer Caucus is to increase awareness about devastating pediatric cancers like DIPG. Despite the fact that DIPG is the second most common pediatric brain tumor, research into treatment and cures is sorely lacking. The median survival rate is only 9 months, with treatment and a 5-year survival rate of less than 1%. We have a moral responsibility to do more to generate awareness and funding for these children and their families fighting this horrible disease. That's why I introduced a bipartisan resolution to recognize May 17th as National DIPG Awareness Day and to call for increased funding for pediatric cancer research. The bipartisan resolution, which now has 150 co-sponsors, was first suggested by Janet Demeter, another fierce advocate from Agua Dulce, California, who tragically lost her son Jack to DIPG in 2011. In addition to raising awareness, I joined my co-chairs in introducing the Creating Hope Reauthorization Act of 2019 to permanently reauthorize the Rare Pediatric Disease Priority Review Voucher Program, which is set to expire at the end of this month. We also introduced the Global Hope Act to improve childhood cancer survival rates worldwide, and we passed the bipartisan Childhood Cancer STAR Act into law in 2018. Since being enacted, the programs and initiatives established in the STAR Act have been fully funded at $30 million, with an additional $50 million for Childhood Cancer Data Initiative. I'm excited to say that this year we are on track to do the same. So, we've done a lot. We have a lot more to do. I'm going to just take a moment to recognize Sadie Keller and Mike McCaul, who published this book, Better Angels. And as it says, you can change the world. In fact, that's what the caucus has done. That's what you have each done in coming to Washington each year to make the case. And like wonderful representatives like Sadie, who are profound in their courage and in their commitment to make sure that children in this country who have cancer are not left behind. So thank you again for what you do. I'm honored to be one of your advocates, and you can count on me in the future.
Hi, I'm Representative Mike Kelly. I want to thank you all for being here. You know, this is the first time we've done a virtual event when it comes to the Childhood Cancer Caucus, but you being involved and all of us working together for the same cause, and that's to defeat this childhood cancer that's absolutely still affecting 8 children every day are given this diagnosis. That's an incredible number. Now, we've done great things, but we still have so much more to do. Being part of this caucus with my friends, Mike McCaul, Jackie Speier, GK Butterfield, we all think the same thing. The most important asset, the most valuable asset that America has is her children. All of us working together can reach a point where someday no parent, no family will ever have to hear those words, your child has cancer. Working together, we can achieve that. Being together like this is different than we'd like it to be because we really like to be face to face in the same place. It's not possible this year, but maybe next year it will be. Meanwhile, nothing stopped. We're still fighting every single day to defeat childhood cancer. Thank you so much. God bless you. And let's keep up the good fight. We are truly all in this together and we are going to win. Thank you so much.